Good day, class. So today, this video is going to be about two very important battles in the Civil War. The first one is the Siege of Vicksburg, and the second one is going to be on the Battle of Gettysburg. Both of them are very, very important when it comes to the Civil War, and on top of that, they both, strangely enough, end on the same day. But we'll get into that in a second. Before we start, though, I'd just like to remind you guys that, again, this is a video. So you can stop or pause the video anytime you need to. You can rewatch it if you missed something, okay? Um, so don't forget about that, okay? So without further ado, let us begin with the warm-up. So here is your warm-up picture. Now, what you need to do is analyze the picture and basically create a list of things you see in this picture. Now, once you've created your list, what you need to do is then basically um, answer the question, which is, uh, what do you think is going on? And who do you think is going to win? Now, based off the picture, you got to analyze and think to yourself, who do you think is going to win? Um, don't forget, the guys in blue, they are the Union. They are the North. The guys in that kind of brownish, grayish kind of color, that is the Confederates. Those are the Southern people. So based off that, write down who do you think is going to win. So the first battle we're going to talk about today is the Siege of Vicksburg, and this lasted from May 18th to July 4th, 1863. Now, it happened in Vicksburg, which is in Warren County, Mississippi. Now, as you can see there, those are the exact coordinates. And during this siege, the Union leader was Ulysses S. Grant, and the Confederate leader in charge was John C. Pemberton. Now, as you can look at the stats, the Union in total, there was 4,910 killed. The Confederates, on the other hand, had 32,363 killed. Now, the wounded is a little different. Now, for the Union, they had 3,940 wounded, whereas the Confederates only had 1,938. But this is the key number to look at. For the captured or missing for the Union, it's 164. But for the Confederates, the total number of captured or missing is 29,620. Now, to really understand what happened at this event, you have to look at the wording of the battle, the Siege of Vicksburg. Now, just in case you forgot your vocab words, the word siege means to surround and then attack an area. Most notably, it's a city or a town. So in this case, the Siege of Vicksburg is one of the groups surrounds the other and basically captures them. Now, as you can see from the numbers, you can basically tell already who won. Okay, but that Confederate captured or missing, you know it's not missing because if they're surrounded, they're not magicians. They're not going to disappear. These guys were captured. 29,620 people were captured. That's a lot of prisoners. And we're going to discuss later on what happened to those people. So this is how it all happened. Basically, after some decisive battles in Mississippi, including one in Jackson, which is like the main city in Mississippi, General Grant basically forced Pemberton into Vicksburg. He basically cornered him. He kicked them basically all around the Mississippi area. Now, Grant had more men, all right? Um, and thing is, Vicksburg was very well fortified and almost impossible to attack head on. The way it was, the terrain, it was high level, so the Confederate could look down. Um, their defenses around the city were very good, And the thing is, they had the Mississippi River behind them. Now, that was a blessing and a curse at the same time. Okay. So the thing is, Grant laid siege on the city of Vicksburg. And like I said, the Mississippi River was on their backs. So the Union basically surrounded them and let the river surround them as well. Um, but at that point, remember, if you remember earlier in the videos, with the Battle of New Orleans, the Union could bring ships into the Mississippi. And that's what they did at this point. Basically, Grant called for ships to come in and come around and basically fire at Vicksburg. Okay. Now, like I said, it was basically impossible to attack head on, but that still didn't stop the Union from trying. So they did try several times at different areas to find a weak point, um, to bust through the lines in a sense, but nothing worked. And there was some soldiers killed. Okay, so after some time, it was like, hey, you know what? We're just wasting our time. We're wasting men. We have all these cannons. We have the cannons and the boats. Well, let's not just bomb these guys. They're not going anywhere. They're not getting any food or supplies. So let's just bomb them. Why waste our own men's lives? And that's what they did. You know, so the bombing came from the land forces as well as the ships from the Mississippi. So these guys are getting bombed from all sides. So this is a map of the first day at Vicksburg. You don't have to write any notes on this if you don't want to, if unless you feel you need to, which is fine with me. So that first picture to your left, you can see all the blue area is the north and the red is the south. So basically, they set up a perimeter around the town of Vicksburg, right? As you can see, the Mississippi River lays right behind them. Now, at first, if you look at the south area in that first picture, there isn't any blue area. So the people could have escaped through there, but they didn't. They were basically concerned about setting up their fortification, building the walls and getting that ready. So as you see several days later, and all the way to July 4th, you see the names in blue? Those are battalions. And we're talking about the picture on the right. And basically those guys have, thousands of men right there, just all around surrounding the city. And then again, ships on the Mississippi River. So they have them. Basically, no, there's nowhere they can go. Okay. So like I was saying earlier, when a town is surrounded by an army, there is no way they can get food or other supplies in. So if they shoot their guns, keep shooting their guns, it's going to be a matter of time before they run out of cannons, of bullets, or whatever. Um, Now again, this thing stretched on for a while, for like a couple months, and um, what ends up happening is the citizens inside the town of Vicksburg and around, they had to fight off the soldiers from stealing their food. There was a couple times that the citizens basically had to have a 24-hour watch around their crops because soldiers would try to sneak in and take food. There was even some reports that I read where soldiers basically tried to sneak in houses and get food. They were starving. And it got to the point where the Union soldiers realized after some time that there were fewer dogs running around town and that the horses were basically gone. Now, I know this sounds bad. How can they kill these animals and things like that? But here's the thing, if they didn't have any food for themselves, do you think they had food for the animals? So why let the animal die and you die when you can basically have the animal for their food? You know? So they basically killed their dogs and horses and cooked the meat and had that to eat. But again, dogs and horses are limited. So it's only a matter of time before they run out of food. And that's what happened. But the thing is, Pemberton, he wants to surrender to Grant. Now, Grant, whenever somebody wanted to surrender to him, he basically asked for an unconditional surrender, which basically meant you are now our prisoners. But here's the problem. In the town of Vicksburg, there are 29,000 people. Remember, I was talking to you earlier. Um, and he doesn't want to take 29,000 people prisoners. Because the thing is, if he does, he has to send those people up north. Now, if he sends them up north, that's going to take some time. And on top of that, if you take someone prisoner, you got to feed them and care for them. And so he's like, no, no, I had barely enough food to take care of my own people and to get how much time it would take to send 29,000 people up north and then while the people are still here, feed them, take care of them? No. So Grant offers them this thing called parole, which is basically like what we have now. But instead of it coming from prison, it's basically that they let them go, but they have to promise not to fight anymore. So once they were paroled, they would be captured. They were taken, their guns and ammunition were basically taken. They were held for a little bit, and then they were sent off. Basically, they're like, we want you to promise that you will not fight again. Basically, had them sign some papers and things like that. But the thing is, he was hoping that their experience of nearly starving to death for something that doesn't really apply to them. He was hoping that would prevent them from fighting again, to realize, you know what, I'm giving a second chance. And why am I fighting for slavery if I don't have any slaves? Remember, not everybody in the South had slaves. So he wanted those people to think, why am I fighting for some people to have slaves when I am barely making it? And these guys are basically buying land from everybody else, making their plantations bigger. And here I am barely making ends meet, and I'm fighting and almost dying for their cause? Are those people here? Probably not. So the thing is, that was Grant's hope. What happens was, some people, they did sign up again. Some people were forced to sign up again. But then there were a lot of people too who just basically did like what Grant hoped. They were like, why? What's the purpose? You know. So they didn't return. So Pemberton officially surrenders on July 4th, 1863, and the Union won. Now, this picture to your right, as you can see, that is from a newspaper in the North.